2 world records and an indoor national title. And at the ripe age of 17, Cooper Lutkenhaus is only getting better. He's absolutely dominating the indoor circuit right now, and it's not even close. And this is a huge contrast for where he ended his season last year in 2025 in Tokyo at World Championships, when he was eliminated in the first round and didn't make it to the semifinals. But as of right now, I think he is in close to his 142 shape that he ran at Nationals last year to come second to Donovan Brazier. And I think the race to highlight that was his 600-meter world record of 114 low set earlier this year, when that 600-meter race was very similar to his 142 performance. The race was out hot. The 600-meter was out in 23.3, and Cooper really tucked into third place behind McIver and Isaiah Jewett, and he coasted along. It was a fast pace, but he found his place into third, right behind Isaiah Jewett. He had space behind him and space in front of him, so he was right on the rail, running 600 meters exactly. This was a similar situation he found himself at Nationals in the finals. He was in 7th place most of that race. He was right inside of lane 1, which is a big deal in the 800 meter, because so many times when you're battling for your place, you're on the inside, middle, to the outside, to even the inside of lane 2. So Cooper in the 600, like at Nationals the year before, he just bided his time. With 1 lap to go in the 600 meters, he started swinging wide, close to the outside of lane 1 on Isaiah Jewett, and he didn't commit fully to the outside of lane 1, inside of lane 2, until he was on the straightaway, 150 to go. He passes Isaiah Jewett, and he stays there. Marco Arop is also very good at this, swinging wide on the corner and just committing to a pace, a steady pace to pass everyone. So when everyone's going back and forth and watching out, being careful or being physical with each other, you give yourself some room. Cooper only had to look after Isaiah Jewett, but he swung wide, and he finally passes him with around 120, 130 meters to go, but he stayed in lane 2. He was going to catch McIver on the last straightaway, and he did, and it wasn't even close. With 50 meters to go, McIver was dying, and Cooper was just powering his way to the finish, kind of eased it off the last 20 meters, all smiles right at the end. And again, we saw a very similar theme in 2025 when he ran his 142. Cooper was running on the inside of lane 1 until maybe 200 meters to go. He starts picking up the garbage, as they say. He suddenly slides in the 6th, then 5th with 150 meters to go. And with 120 meters to go, he swings wide perfectly, and he times that last 100 to the button, slipping by Hoppel at the end and almost catching Brazier. Now, the reason why I bring this up is running 142 and 114.1, they're 2 totally different times in my opinions, but 114 is still fast. That was on an indoor track. That was in February. Cooper's proving that you can build on your outdoor season in your indoor season and have very similar times, especially on a 200-meter track. And even in his 800-meter performances this year in indoors, undefeated. And when you watch his races, they're not even close. When Cooper wants to go in a race, he just goes and nobody can catch his move. It's a similar dominance to when he makes his move in some of these Diamond League meets and just nobody can answer. At the Sanders Invite this year, it was pretty much just a time trial for Cooper. You had the likes of Handel Roban in that race, who's also a 142 guy, and a bunch of other 144 guys in that race. And Cooper just went with the pacer, and the whole time it was Cooper and then everybody else. You could tell the 3rd lap in that race that Cooper was like realizing he went out maybe a tad fast. You could tell he hammered on the brakes a little bit, but he negative split his 3rd to 4th lap. And although Cooper hasn't faced too many world beaters yet, like Wanyanye, Sajati, or Arop, who those guys typically don't run too many indoor races, he's proving he's just on another level, and that he's not just the future of the 800 meter in America, he's the present, he's the guy. So who's gonna stop him? Who's gonna stop Cooper Lutkenhaus from absolutely dominating everyone? And I think it's not who, it's how the race is going to be ran and how many. Let's flash back to Tokyo 2025 when Cooper was in the heats. He says he wasn't having a fantastic day, and I agree with that. With that said, even if Cooper was on his game, I don't think he would have made the semifinals. In a slow race, you can tell that Cooper Lutkenhaus is still a rookie in this sport. His spatial awareness at those paces and his decision-making at those paces are not great. In fact, they're actually not good at all. That whole race in Tokyo, he ran in lane 2. You can see he had really no idea what he was going to do. While running in lane 2, the people on the inside were passing him, and then he would go up again, and then he would fall back again. He could have just tucked his way in. And I have a feeling he wanted things to open up and then he wanted to tuck in. But at World Championship level meets, things rarely open up unless someone's going out in 48, 49 seconds. But that's the kind of races Lutkenhaus thrived in. Remember the US Nationals in 2025, that was a fast race. Hoey was out in 48 point, and Cooper was just tucked in. In Tokyo, it wasn't like that. They went out in 53 low. He ran the whole thing in lane 2. And you know when you go out in 53 seconds against the best in the world, they're closing faster than 53 seconds. And they did. Cooper found himself in lane 3 with 200 meters to go on the corner. The total distance he ran in that race, I haven't looked it up, but it was, my guess, around 812 meters. Do you think you're 12 meters better than everyone else? I don't think so. And how those 12 extra meters were ran too, it was a bunch of slowing down, speeding up, and indecisiveness, and all that takes energy. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because we see something similar this year on the indoor circuit. In the Sanders meet and at US Nationals in the finals, we see Cooper, when he gets into a bunch of people, he's very stumbly, he's janky. He doesn't get himself into good positions. One thing I will say that Cooper's doing very different this year than he did last year is on the indoor circuit, when he's in these races where he finds himself with a bunch of people, he still doesn't make the best decisions, kind of running into people in the back and kind of swinging wide really suddenly, but he's decisive. If you're gonna make a bad move, decisively make it. You can't hesitate in the 800 meter. In a split second, so many things can happen. You can go from 1st to 8th, a bunch of people can cut you off. Cooper would get himself into trouble and make a move, and then he would just go. And because he's so much fitter than everyone and just flat out a better 800 meter runner than all of these guys, it's paying off. He's winning these races. But the problem Cooper's gonna find himself is when he faces a lot of these other world beaters and it's not a fast race, when the leader's going out in 52 seconds, 53 seconds, and there's a pack, you have to make energy conserving decisions. You are not that much better than everyone else. He's that much better than everyone else on the international scene, but not on the top 8 scene. The top 8 in the world are different animals. They can go out in 52 seconds and come back in 50 flat, as Marco did in 2023 at Budapest. So if you're running that extra 12 meters and you're running it very inefficiently, there's no way you're going to win that. And I honestly believe if there was a World Championships this year, I think Cooper would have a chance at winning it if it was a fast race through and through, and if he could survive the heats, the semis, and then go to the finals. Because again, World Championships is also, and the Olympics, it's a war of attrition. How can you make the finals is equally as important as how well you perform in the finals. Because if you are running extremely fast times in the heats and the semis just to get to the finals, you're gonna be more tired than a guy half a second slower than you. And that guy half a second slower than you is gonna have more energy and have a better day than you, and he's gonna beat you. So this is the importance of racing smart. If Cooper can race smarter, which will just come with experience, he's a 17-year-old kid. These things will come, and I think the 800 meter world is being served to him on a platter. He's gonna race so many races this year, or at least he has the option to. The only big race this year is Commonwealths. There's no international meet that the Americans can go to. So he's gonna have a year of just getting into these races, these diamond leagues, where he's gonna face a bunch of adversity. He's gonna experience what the full spectrum of the amateur sports world has to offer. And it takes some getting used to. But he's gonna have some phenomenal races this year, and he's also gonna have some garbage races this year. And I think him and his team know that, or at least his team knows that. There's going to be some times where a race is really funky and he makes a really bad move, but that's just the way it is when you're 16, 17. The only difference between him and us is that by the time a professional athlete runs 142, he's typically in his 20s by then, maybe even his mid-20s. Because Cooper's 16, 17, a lot of these mistakes that these high school runners learn is when they're running 156, 800 meters. He's running 142. So because everybody's watching him make these mistakes, it just feels like there's more pressure on him. But I think Cooper's racing style, having a very strong second lap, is super ideal for racing nowadays in the 800 meter. And I think he's really gonna shock the world over the next few years of how fast he can really run if everything plays out correctly, which is a huge if, considering things happen, like just look at Jacob Ingebrigtsen right now. But it's totally possible. I don't think Cooper's going to be the next 800 meter world record holder, but I think he's going to be the one after that. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time.